Welcome to Creatively Exposed, a podcast and safe space for Black and marginalized creatives to empower, educate, and uplift you through the final product of self and creation. Bring a homie, share with a homie, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to Creatively Exposed, and oh man, so much stuff has happened in this past week. And I'm a little sleep deprived, so this might be a short episode and looking to start off September with actually edited episodes, guest episodes, since it is Latin History Month, something like that. This culture month for Latinos. So I got some dope people that I've had conversations with that I have been teasing for a very long time. So hoping to get that done. And I wouldn't be able to start this episode properly without speaking about Chadwick Boseman. And if you don't know who that is, he is our King T'Challa in Wakanda. He was Jackie Robinson. I mean, it goes on in amazing bodies of work. And the collective grief that we have been consistently sharing in the Black community has, I think, most of us exhausted. But also, what I realized in all of this consistent grief is that it's amazing how much love we have for one another when we're truly tapped in and connected and aware and respecting one another. To be able to collectively grieve means we have collectively loved and been loved. And so it's a bittersweet, beautiful experience, and I am grateful. And that's all I have for that. It hits, man. It hits. And it's usually odd because, like, oh, I never met this person, but you can see when someone truly loves themselves and Black people, it oozes. The sincerity and the intention is rare, and it's something that I think we need more of. And to lose that is unfortunate. So, rest in power. And what a dope legacy. He literally will be eternal. And so I have been working on my shop, and I'm sleep deprived. So I will be sleeping a little bit earlier than, 3 a.m. like the last episode. And I've been working on stuff, even though it doesn't feel like I'm getting that far. But what is enough? What is sufficient, and what are we comparing that to? Is just a thought that I have in my head. Another, I guess, announcement. I created a course in partnership with the Sevilla Writers House, and I'll add it to the show notes. It's an audio course, so if you enjoy listening to me and you would like maybe a writing prompt or a writing workshop to do on your own time, this is called Finding Power in Your Silence, and I created it because as an introvert, it's been hard to exist in an extroverted world. And people always want to brand silence as if it were, I don't know, something um, flawed or something negative, and it doesn't always mean that. Sometimes it can be, I'm closing my window, so sorry for that background noise. It can be a form of violence, but it can have its benefits. There is power in silence in how we decide to use them, and this was such a complex creation because first, it's something that I had never experienced creating before. And I wanted to do it justice. I wanted to have it be useful and impactful. And so I've I hid behind my silence for so long in life to the point that it even affected my own health. And I just would love people to understand and see that there is more than one way of existing in silence. There's a reclamation of power in being silent. And so that's the purpose of the course. And I hope that if you do decide, if you feel called and you check it out, that it is useful to you. I did worksheets and everything, like, but when I tell you I struggled, I struggled, y'all. I struggled because I'm like, what does a teacher sound like? What does an educator feel like? To be one, I don't know. So it's just, you gotta break down all these like preconceived, this is how this is supposed to be before you create something that is entirely you. And that is where my bestie was basically like, you are the sauce, like, chill, what you doing? You know? And it's funny because pressure is what blocks us creatively. Imposter syndrome, like, who am I to do these things? The need for perfection stops the creative process. Why? Because we're human beings and creating is messy, laborious, if that's a word, work. And although sometimes nothing ever feels quite enough, at least for me, um, we're birthing. We're planting seeds. We're cultivating. We're nurturing this creation until we release it out into the world. And it comes with, if we want to get very gore, it comes with blood and tears and yelling and frustration and all of these things. And then we wonder why we're exhausted after we do them, or we feel hollow. And I literally, once I finished it, I kind of sat there and I'm like, wow. So, story time. I don't share this a lot, but my dad was a teacher. And when I began creating ideas, because I also have ideas for the Estuary Collective, which is a poetry collective that I'm a part of, and just trying to create a vision for Black and brown people, folks, to have a space to grow and exist in and all of that, and to think that I could be teaching, it hit me in a way that I was not expecting. And I think sometimes I've run from myself. It's funny, that's like it's a Queen Sono reference if anyone's seen that. And to find myself back in my original existence, which is realizing how much of my parents that I am, especially my dad who passed away when I was 15, it's bewildering because this person is not in your day to day, but somehow there's a lot of you and a lot of them in you. If that makes any sense. I feel like I'm rambling. But it's amazing that not only do we inherit traumas, but we also inherit generational blessings. And so sit in that, you know. Sometimes there are things that we can embody, we can use, we can grow into for the greater good. At least that's how I see. This was my intention with finding power in your silence. I think of people who have been silenced. I think of people who have hid in silence. I think of people who have felt the violence of silence. Why? Because I have. And then the ability to wield my silence. Like this podcast, like poetry, like art, these are all mediums of reclaiming your power and saying, hey, world, I'm here and my existence is valid. So, I don't know. These are just musings, you know. There's a lot going on. There's also a Pisces full moon this week. And I'm not 100% sure how it will affect everyone. I mean, there might be more emotions. There's a whole bunch of like oppositions and squares, which can lead to conflict. But I think it's a time to dream, a time to manifest, a time to emote and be emoted to, a time to reclaim self, to have boundaries, to go with the flow. Every time I hear it, I'm just like, I'm tired of this terminology, but like, it's literally surrendering to all the things that we can't see. In this work, I guess for me, of creating a new future, right? Trying to shape, even in the smallest, like, speck of a form of possibility for tomorrow. I think of the future and I feel like I have to keep picturing it and keep moving forward to picturing it. And in picturing it, it's releasing generational traumas and I feel like I've been doing some heavy lifting, which